So right now in non-league there are a number of teams who've got some really exciting looking stadium plans, and some other ones as well that have actually started work on the stadiums and are due to move in soon. So I thought in this video, let's go and have a look at the most exciting future stadiums of non-league football. Before we start, this video is sponsored by One Football, and you can actually find out about different stadiums in non-league and all across the football pyramid as well by going into their app and looking at the different teams. You can see different fixtures and where they're taking place, find out information about all the different teams, and yeah, if you want to download the app, link is going to be in the top line of the description. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get straight into the video with number 10.
In at number 10 are St Albans City, who announced in March 2018 that they were going to build a 6,000 capacity stadium, or at least these plans were proposed. Building work hasn't started yet, but this stadium, along with pretty much all of these on this list, is going to be built with the idea of building a sustainable future for the football club. The facility is going to be part of pretty much a new village that's going to be built just outside St Albans. It's going to include 900 houses as well. The ground will also be home to the club's academy. The co-owner said that without the new ground, the owners could not continue funding the club indefinitely. Their current ground, Clarence Park, holds 3,700 and they've been there since 1908. But the plans for their new ground are accepted, they could look to be moving in 2022. And number 9 is Leamington. In April 2017, plans were given the green light for a new 5,000 capacity stadium to be built. The new ground will also be a lot closer to the town of Leamington because their current ground, the Phillips 66 Community Stadium, is actually over 4 miles away from the town and it is quite difficult to get to via public transport. However, their current ground was only opened in 1999, so it's a relatively new ground, but it only holds 2,300 people, so the capacity will actually be doubled when they move into their new ground, and they could be looking to move in as soon as 2022. However, quite funnily on Twitter, some other clubs have been saying, well, the ground plans, they look quite familiar. At number 8 is 7th tier side Workington. In October 2018, a £15 million vision was announced to build a new stadium that they will share with Workington Town Rugby League Club. The stadium is going to hold 8,000 people and it will be built on the site of Workington's current ground, Borough Park, which holds just over 3,000. In addition, a full-size synthetic pitch will be built next to the ground, which can be used as a community facility. Currently, Workington and Workington Town, they play very close together. Their stadiums are just separated by one Tesco. So it's not much of a relocation for either side, but the stadium will be a nice new facility that will help see the clubs into the future. Now, the stadium will be a mixture of seats and standing. It's hoped the stadium will be ready by 2021 so that it can host a match at the Rugby World Cup. The pitch will be a blend of synthetic and grass, which is similar to what was used in the World Cup in Russia in 2018. So it's quite a forward-thinking ground, and it's great to see that these plans have been put forward by a 7th tier club. At number 7 is a club that's been homeless for a number of years, so they're pretty desperate to move into a new ground. It's Worcester City. The club have played most of their history at the 4,500 capacity St George's Lane, but due to financial issues they had to sell the ground and move out at the end of the 2012-13 season. Ever since they've been in exile, playing at Agbra Stadium, the home of Kidderminster Harriers, and Bromsgrove Sporting's home, the Victoria Ground. Also in this time the club has dropped down 3 leagues, so it's been a pretty terrible time for them on the pitch, and the uncertainty around their stadium situation has certainly not helped the matter. Over the last 6 years they've had numerous plans at multiple different sites across the city of Worcester rejected, but the current plans see the club looking to try and build a ground on the land owned by a local leisure centre. This stadium will hold around 4,400 people, but these plans have been rejected, and with the club at a low level, will they be able to find the funding able to build a new ground? The future for them is certainly very uncertain. And number 6 is a situation that's very, very similar to Worcester, but for totally different reasons. It's Gloucester City. In July 2007, their home, Meadow Park, was hit by terrible floods, and it saw the ground submerged 8 foot underwater. It was in fact the 3rd time in 17 years that the ground was flooded, so this combined with the damage caused to the ground meant that they had to move out. Ever since that happened in 2007, the club have had to ground share with a total of 4 different clubs and currently find themselves ground sharing with Evesham United, which is quite a long way from Gloucester. However, they are set to be returning home and actually to the same site. Meadow Park is going to be remade into a new football stadium. Plans had been submitted, but then in late 2018, scaled down plans were resubmitted to try and speed up the process of them moving back to Gloucester. So the ground is set to hold around about 3,200 people, and the original plans were set to house 1,000 seats, but the new plans have had that scaled down to around 560 seats. It's overall going to cost around £4 million, and there's been extensive draining systems put in place to ensure that if floods happen, it doesn't have a detrimental effect on the ground. And there could be a very quick turnaround for this ground. The club are looking to move in for the 1920 season. In number 5 are Boston United, who announced in November 2013 that they were going to be moving out of the Jakeman Stadium and moving to a new ground built out of the town. The stadium is part of a huge £100 million project that will see houses and commercial properties built. The stadium itself is going to cost around £11.5 million to build. The plans have been submitted to the council and now accepted for a 5,000 capacity Football League standard stadium. The Jakeman Stadium has been the home of Boston since 1933 and holds 6,600 people. So this new stadium will actually be a bit of a downgrade, but with less than 10 years left on the lease for the ground, they've got to find an alternative ground that they can move into. In at number 4 is Kidderminster Harriers, who announced plans for a new stadium in August 2017. The new stadium will see the club move to the site of their current academy and first team training facility. Included in the ground will be extensive educational facilities, allowing the ground to be used every day of the week. Also, there will be facilities for a range of different sports, so it'll be a great community facility. The club's current home, Agborough Stadium, has been home to the club since 1890, but with the lease having not too long left on it, a move is necessary to avoid the club finding themselves in a similar situation to that of Worcester City, where they end up homeless. In at number 3 is certainly the team with the most ambitious plans on this list. It's Torquay United. In 2018, the club proposed to build an out-of-town stadium that has a capacity of 10,000 for football matches and up to 30,000 as a music venue. It's also proposed to be a multi-purpose facility with the ability to hold a range of different events at the ground. There will also be a hotel as well as leisure facilities, and it will create over 350 full-time jobs. The ground will be built on the site of a former landfill site and will cost over £40 million. The club's chairman, Clark Osborne, said that the project will bring major inward investment, long-term sport and leisure facilities, and equip the club to climb back into the EFL and stay there. The club has been at Plainmoor since 1921, a 6,500 capacity stadium, which is currently owned by the council. While these plans are absolutely unbelievable looking at them, there's question marks over whether it's realistic or whether it can actually happen, but if it does happen, it will be a real massive thing. In at number 2 is one of the few grounds on this list that's currently actually being built, and that is the home of York City, the York Community Stadium. Now, this ground follows the trend on this list of teams that have a current ground in the town centre but want to expand or have a lease running out, so need to move away, and they naturally have to move to a ground outside of the town. Well, it is a shame for the club to be leaving Bootham Crescent. It is a ground that needs a lot of repair work done, and it's becoming very expensive to have that done. Hence, they're moving out. They're sharing the ground with York City Knights, a rugby league club, and the ground will hold 8,000 all seated. On site, there will be a leisure complex, a sports hall, a gym, as well as a community hub and 3G five-a-side pitches. Permission was granted for the ground in March 2015, and work began in December 2017 with the aim of the club moving in to the ground for the 1920 season. Now, this was on track until just a matter of days ago when the club announced that building work is behind schedule, so they might have to start the next season at Bootham Crescent. The stadium overall is going to cost £44.2 million to build, so one of the most expensive ones on this list, but it's also the most advanced and the closest to being finished. Currently, you can see a clear shell of what the stadium will look like. It's just got the finishing touches, the seats, the pitch that need to be put in, but you can see it as a general shell, and you can imagine what it will look like as a stadium. In at number 1 is, in my opinion, the most significant one on this list, not only for the football club but for the infrastructure of sport and football in the local area, and that is going to be the new home of Truro City, the stadium for Cornwall. There are currently no major sporting arenas in Cornwall whatsoever. Now, the whole of England, it is by far, in terms of football and in sport overall, the least developed part of the country. That's why the stadium for Cornwall is so important, because it will give a real good home to Truro City, who are the highest ranked football club in Cornwall, and will help them progress as a football club. And also Cornish Pirates Rugby Union, they will move into the ground as well. Now, Truro City sold their ground, Trey Road, in 2014 to some developers, and they knew at this point that they could be kicked out of the ground pretty much at any point, and that happened during the start of the 2018-19 season. They had to move out and go and play all their matches at Torquay United's home, Plainmoor. It was over 100 miles away, and matches regularly had less than 200 people in attendance. However, just after the turn of the new year in 2019, the club actually were allowed to move back to Truro Road, a 3,200 capacity stadium, because the work hadn't started as planned, but the future does remain uncertain until the Stadium of Cornwall actually is built. Now, the Stadium of Cornwall has actually been in the pipelines since 2005. There's been a range of different plans. Previous plans have been a lot more elaborate, some huge plans for a massive ground to be built in the past. But since these plans have been scaled down because it's been going on for almost 15 years, and to be honest, this ground just needs to happen, because with 14 years of this ground not being built, potential help that it could have had to the community, that's 14 years where it's not been able to help at all. Permission has been granted, but the problem is finding funding. But work could potentially start as soon as May 2019, with the club looking to move into the 10,000 capacity stadium as soon as November 2020. If and when it happens, it will be a huge thing for sport in Cornwall, and that's why for me it's the most significant new stadium plan and the most exciting one, so that's why it's number 1 on this list.
So you have it, that is it for this video. Which is your favourite stadium on this list? Which one you're most excited to go and visit in the future? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're down here, remember to hit the like button and click subscribe as well. Trying to get to 15,000 by the end of the season. If you can get there, that'd be absolutely awesome. So yeah, I hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.